Hey there, posture guys and gals, and welcome back to the show. As always, I'm your host, Justin Archer, aka the Posture Guy, your number one source on pain, posture, and performance. And today, we're going to be going over how to test your progress. And by progress, I mean your body's response and adaptation to the exercises you're currently doing. But before we get to all that, I have a little bit of house cleaning and an announcement to make. So definitely stick around. This will take just a minute, but you're definitely going to want to hear this. And, well, you might actually already know the announcement. And that is, for those of you who don't know, is that I recently, and by recently I mean just a few days ago, probably not even a week, set up a Google Plus page for thepostureguy.com. And the reason I'm really excited about it, and I'm still going to be on all the other social media platforms. I still have love for Facebook and Twitter and of course YouTube. I'm putting up videos every day, Pinterest and all those guys. And I'll link to all those below if you want to check it out and follow me on those. But why I'm really excited about this Google Plus page, and if you go over there, and for those of you who've already signed up to follow me, that's not really signing up, but just follow me or add me to your circles, thank you very much. You may notice that it's pretty bare there. I'm going to be working on that in the next few days to about the next week, adding content from the site and YouTube and other areas. So that is definitely coming. But the part that I'm really excited about is the Hangouts. Now, if you don't know what a Hangout is, there's basically two versions. There's the one for profiles, which allows you to chat with multiple people at once, kind of like a Facebook kind of thing, but it also allows you to call them via video, like Skype. And you can have, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's up to 10 people at once. So you can have a little virtual family reunion or high school reunion with some of your friends. Or there's photography hangouts and pet lovers hangouts, and you can get on and talk about photography or pets or pet photography. So there's really cool stuff there. Then there's the live hangouts, which enables you to broadcast, basically live stream a video, and people can come on and be a part of it. So what I'm thinking of doing is either at the end of this month or definitely next month. If it doesn't happen this month, it's going to happen next month, is doing a live broadcast on Google Hangouts and kind of doing a Q&A, but something really informal. We can all hang out, just the Posture Peeps family. I mean, please bring anybody else who you think could benefit from it. And, I can bring some of you on video with me. I believe I know how to do that now. I've been studying all the ins and outs of the software. But at the very least, you can type in some questions that you would like to have me answer live, or some topics that you would like to hear me address, or things to show you, and we can do that. And it's just a really fun place. It's the next best thing to all of us getting together live in person, which I know is kind of unrealistic because the Posture Peeps family is from all over the world, and I love that, and I wish we can all get together, and maybe one day we will, but until then, this is the next best thing. So if you haven't already added me to your circles, and if you're wondering, do I even have a Google Plus account? If you have a Gmail account or you have a YouTube account, then you do, because in order to have one of those things, you have to have the other. But it'd even be worth it just to get a Gmail account and sign up. It's really, really cool, not just to be a part of the Posture Peeps family, but there's a lot of other communities too, pretty much for any passion or hobby that you can have. So check it out. Links to the Google Plus page and the other social media platforms of mine are down below. But now let's get on to the main content, which again is testing your progress. And there's a lot of ways you can test your progress, and a lot of ways that progress can be applied to different aspects of your health. But for today, we're just going to look at exercises, okay? There's really three categories of improvement or progress that we're going to be looking at. Symptom, which I know everybody is very interested in, balance, and function, okay? So let's go after the first one first. The one that most people are really dying to know about is symptom. Well, obviously, people are looking to get out of pain, and I want that for them too. Of course, they want it for themselves. But here's the thing is, yes, occasionally someone will do an exercise or a sequence of exercises and be miraculously pain-free, and that is great. But I'll tell you what happens more times than not is that people will get better. They'll go from a pain level of 9 to 10 down to a 3 or 4. And then the next day the pain will come back, but they do the exercises, it goes back down to a 3 or 4, and it stays away longer. So maybe at first it only stayed away for 2-3 hours, and then the next day it stayed away for 3.5-4 hours, then 5 hours, then 8 hours, right? So it's accumulative. The more that you do the exercises, the longer the pain's going to stay away and the less the pain is going to be. And then eventually the good days start outweighing the bad days until one day there is no more bad days. I tell you from personal experience, and I know other people have experienced this as well, is that like aha moment when you were so used to having pain day in and day out for like what seems like your entire life, and then you go without pain for 2, 3, 4 months, and maybe you have a bad day, maybe you slept wrong, maybe you're dehydrated, maybe you skipped your exercise the past 2 days, I don't know. And that pain that you used to have all the time came back, and you're like, what is that? And it hits you, I used to have that all the time. That's actually a cool feeling, you know. Granted, yeah, you want to get the pain gone, you know, really fast so you do the exercises and then it goes away, but it's just kind of a neat phenomenon, a neat feeling to have. So again, look for improvement, you know, and if perfection happens, great, but I think a lot of people are looking for that magic bullet. What's the one exercise or the sequence of exercises that's going to cure my pain forever, right? Well, our bodies are organic. They're always changing. So what may work for you today may not necessarily work for you, you know, a year from now, or a month from now, or even a week from now. So you have to be ready to adapt and change. Just look to be better than you were the day before. You know, if your lower back was on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, a 9 or a 10, and if you do, you know, 20, 25 minutes worth of exercise and you get it down to a 4 or 5, heck, that's improvement, right? So again, you know, be grateful for improvement. And if you're consistent with your exercises, you're going to get to that pain-free or, you know, perfection place, I guarantee it, okay? So that's number one, symptom. Now, the second is balance. And this is something I recommend everybody do before you do any exercises, is stand up and test your balance. And you're balancing your feet. Do you feel more on your left foot, more on your right foot, more towards the toes, more towards the heels, more towards the inside edge of the feet or the outside edge of the feet? And you can kind of just remember this, or, you know, if you have short-term memory, jot it down somewhere on a piece of paper or on the computer, and then do your first exercise, and then heck, even test it after the first exercise. Most people, when they're conscious of it, will actually notice a change in their balance as well as a change in their symptom after the first exercise. Again, not perfect, but improvement. And then test it after the second exercise, test it after the third. You know, a big part of looking for progress, or making sure there is any, if there isn't any, that, you know, that's a problem, you're definitely doing the wrong thing, but is testing and retesting. Don't just look for an end result, look for all the little changes in between, both in symptom and in balance, okay? And definitely after you're done with the routine, definitely after that, test your balance again. And then the third is function. Now function has a couple subcategories, and we'll briefly go over each one, but by function, I mean, I'll give you a personal story. Years ago, before I started doing any postural alignment therapy, and I had a torn supraspinatus, I couldn't lift my arm above shoulder height. Even with this arm, if I tried to push it, it was, you know, in excruciating pain. Well, the first time I did any postural corrective exercises, you know, I spent, I think it was like an hour 15 doing some exercises, and in that time I went from not being able to lift my arm to here, to being able to lift it up to here. Now, granted, that's not pain-free, and that's not perfect, but going from here to here in an hour 15, I was ecstatic. I was running around, you know, back then I think I was still living at home. Dad, look at this. You know, calling up friends, and they're like, you can lift your arm, whoop-de-doo. But as I'm sure many of you know, if you have some restrictions in range of motion and movement, that's a huge thing, you know, to go from here to here when all this was excruciatingly painful, right? So look for, you know, things as far as range of motion. Also in terms of flexibility, you know, maybe before you do your exercise routine, try to bend down and touch your toes and see how difficult it is. And then test it, you know, maybe after the first or second exercise, test it definitely at the end and see if there's an improvement, okay? So you can test range of motion, you can test flexibility, you can test strength, right? There's some exercises. If you've done an air bench, for example, where you sit against a wall and you try to hold that for 2 minutes, I would say 80-85% of people can't do 2 minutes when they first do it. So if you're one of those, don't feel bad. I barely held on the first time I did a 2-minute air bench. Most people are like, after 45 to 60 seconds, they're like, and I'm done. But what's neat is to see them a week later get up to 2 minutes. Right there, that's progress. And the progress they had to make to strengthen those muscles means that those muscles have pulled now their hips and other parts of their body back into proper alignment. and therefore their balance is going to be better, their range of motion, obviously their strength, and then their symptom, which I know is, again, what everybody's looking for. And then also look at endurance, So strength and endurance, they kind of go together. How long can you hold an air bench? If you can only do 20 repetitions of a particular exercise and a few days later you can do 30 or 45, that's improvement, okay? So again, don't just be, I know we all want pain-free, but don't get the blinders on and only looking at, am I completely out of pain? Am I completely out of pain? Because you're kind of mentally setting yourself up for failure. Yes, from time to time that does happen with people where they'll do one exercise or a few exercises and they're completely out of pain. But more often than not, how it works is people will do exercises, their pain is relieved, their function improves, their flexibility, their strength, their endurance, their balance, all those things improve, and it's usually for a time. Maybe if it's your first time doing any of these exercises, it may be for 1 to 3 hours, and then the pain starts coming back and you get a little stiff, but then you do the exercises again, and everything feels better for a little bit longer, right? And if you're consistent in doing those exercises day in and day out, you're going to feel better for longer periods of time. Then the good days start to outweigh the bad until eventually there's no more bad days and only good days. That's how the therapy process works, and that's how your body adapts to it. You got to remember that, we're all works in progress. Again, unless you were shot, stabbed, hit by a car, fell down some stairs, something like that, the pain that you're suffering from, whether it be back, hip, shoulder, arthritis, and all these things, they were built up over poor motion patterns, doing repetitive times, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of time over definitely weeks, probably more months, years, in some people's cases, decades. So it is going to take some time, not a one-to-one equivalent, but it is going to take days, weeks, and possibly months to correct. It's not going to be instantaneous, okay? So I just don't want you to set yourself up and only be looking at pain-free. Have that, that's at the top of it though. Let's look 5 steps ahead and look at things like, is the pain better? Is my balance better? Is my function better, including flexibility, strength, endurance, and all those things that fit under function, okay? So those are the things to look out for. And if none of them are improving, then you're doing the wrong exercises, and definitely get in touch with me, and let me know how I can help. Maybe I can point you in the direction of the correct exercises to do. Maybe it's some other aspect of your health that needs changing. Maybe your breathing, your hydration, your sleep, your nutrition, stress, movement throughout the day. Any of those things could be are contributing factors. Okay. So, anyways, I hope that helps you kind of pick out and figure out whether or not the current exercise that you're doing are at least pointing you down the right path towards that pain-free and active life without limitations that I know we all want. If you have any questions along the way, that's what I'm here for. Okay. You can definitely find me here on the website. You can call or email me. My contact information is below at the end of this post. And, you can find me now on Google+, on the new Google+ page, on Twitter, on Facebook, on all those. And again, I'll link to them down below. Okay? Anyways, I hope this helps. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys inside the next video and hopefully on the new Google+ page. All right? See you then. Bye.